Oh my God, wait a minute. It's Paul Bear. It's Paul Bear. And that's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane. Oh my God, he just ripped the door off its hinges. Size of this human being, or is that a human being? Kane! That's gotta be Kane! The Undertaker looking at him, looking to the eyes of that giant who stands in front of him. Is that his younger brother? He's huge, whoever he is. He's as big as the Undertaker. What's this? Oh my! The Undertaker! Tombstone! Undertaker! Set up for the tombstone! The Undertaker set up for the tomb, driven down to the canvas!
Okay. Hi guys, welcome to this episode of Trip Around the Multiverse with the Devil's favourite demon, C.Y. Chon.
And Jerry Lawler's personal dentist, Carl Charles.
So today we're going to have a look back at the career of Kane / Ken Jacobs, the mayor of
Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also known as Isaac Yankum DDS and the fake Diesel.
Yeah, Diesel 2. Yeah. Was it brand new Diesel? One that is.
Well, you know what? It'd be better. If they wait for brand new Diesel, but they were trying to pretend it was the same Kevin Nash Diesel.
Yeah.
Which.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
So first of all, I'm gonna say, what do you think of Kane? Like as an overall performer, like
Overall, I really like Kane. I've always liked Kane.
Yeah, I think Kane was presented well at the beginning, right? And I'm not trying to lawyer talk my way around it, right? It's presented well at the beginning because I think it was just for they built for the storyline to have that one-off, right? Or that was their main goal, right? And then they kind of didn't really know what to do with him afterwards, but he had managed to get a 20+ year career out of it, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think he was. They got him to a certain point, and then he never hit those peaks again.
Yeah,
kind of.
That's true. No,
I mean, he had peaks of flow, but he didn't get as high as when he was presented as the big major threat.
Yeah.
So, did you watch him, Glenn Jacobs, when he was DDS?
No, I think this is when this happened. I was dipping in and out of wrestling, so I missed him being the DDS stuff.
And the fake Diesel?
Yeah, and that as well, because I think at that time...
Knox County, by the way, not Knoxville. That's what I knew. I knew something was wrong. I was like, it's
Knox County, Tennessee.
Yeah, I think you said Knoxville.
I might have. Yeah, I did. Yeah. My bad.
But yes. So you never did you? When did you find out he was fake Diesel?
It was a lot later on. I found out. I think it might have been like early 2000s when the internet was a thing, and I think that's why I found out he was fake Diesel.
See, I think I dipped out of wrestling when at that point, right? So I never saw the NWO stuff at the time it was live.
Yeah.
So I know Bret Hart beat Diesel 1995 for the title at Survivor Series. But anything after, I didn't know Diesel left, blah, blah, blah. All I know is that Royal Rumble 97, Bret Hart threw Diesel out of the ring. And then Stone Cold threw Bret Hart out of the ring, yeah? But that's a different case. I was like, oh, okay, that's Diesel, right? But I don't think when you're like that young and you don't watch it that much, you don't kind of like get a whole grasp of...
Yeah.
Okay, this guy looks the same. He's got the same beard. He's doing the same moves, right? But you don't realize how physically different they move.
Yeah.
Because, it's a guy wearing the same clothes, Because
I think during that time, so like late 96, so I think even like to late '97, I didn't watch WWF. I think I was only watching like WCW at the time because I think that's the
I don't
only
think
easy
I
thing
wasn't
for you to watch.
I wasn't watching either, so I didn't realize. Like, I think I missed the whole fake Diesel. I catch bits and pieces, but I missed the whole fake Diesel thing.
Yeah, same. So it's kind of a shock to me when that happened. Like, oh, okay, this is a thing.
Did you watch the storyline of Kane live?
Of who?
Kane. What the story? Did you watch it as it was going on?
Oh yeah. I think when he appeared, that's when I think that pay-per-view or the one before was when I started watching WF again properly. So yeah.
So you didn't know about the build beforehand.
Bits and pieces, because I'll watch Raw on and off. Because I remember seeing the Raw when Undertaker revealed that he killed his parents and.
Well, depending on his alignment, by the way, he accidentally set the fire, or he legit set the whatever he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Depends when his face or heel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I watched. So I kind of knew about it and kind of didn't, because I remember watching WWF and for a long not watching for ages, and I saw Paul Bear and he had like ginger hair. I was like, what is this? I'm confused. Yeah. So I'm like, wait, I thought this guy just looked the same all the time, but no. And then the Kane thing. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I was watching some of the old stuff, and I think they actually built it pretty well because they kept the mystery of Kane. Now, first of all, they did the fake Undertaker storyline, which wasn't that great, but this is almost a repeat of it 3 years later.
Yeah. And
except they executed it much better.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, does he not exist? This is Paul Bearer playing mind games? Is this all story? Or is it all falsehood? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kane's lived in the basement for X amount of years. Paul Bearer taking care of him and that stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's scarred from the fire, everything like that. And then it came to Bad Blood when he did make his physical appearance.
Which was awesome.
He looked intimidating, I have to say.
Yeah.
Squaring up to Undertaker and then giving him the tombstone. But I think, would you say like he did his best work? Kane did his best work underneath the mask, like during this period of time.
I don't know. Yeah, I would actually say he did, but then later on when he loses the mask for the first time. That was also his best work when he was literally like a homicidal maniac, just murdering people.
Yeah.
But no, I did like Kane that time, the mask. Even when they changed the mask to the later on, when you see the mouth, even like that bit of him.
Yeah. I think so that Bad Blood was like September, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
September '97. So they build into the WrestleMania match. Which was April the next year.
Yeah, April 14. April 98. Yeah.
So they took their time. They had patience. Because they could have just hot-shotted it, like they did with the fake Undertaker, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, could have had Undertaker, but I'm glad they took their time to build that storyline. It was pretty good. And they made Kane have credibility by defeating Vader, of course. Yeah. Right. But then you squash other people as well, and I don't think there was any major stars-ish that he couldn't defeat that weren't lower tier, anyways. In a certain way, if you know what I mean. They gave him credibility, but they went too high up the card that it hurt their credibility either. Like they weren't main event people.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because all he really feuded was with Mankind for a bit as well, and even though that all was weird because Mankind was part of Paul Bearer's sort of stable at the time as well, him and Vader.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that, so
it's weird.
Yeah, they took their time. Okay, so what he does, right? He makes Undertaker lose his match to Shawn Michaels, right, which is a title match, and then he's like, I'm gonna okay. This is what's odd to me, right? When you look at it, he's like, okay, so you make him lose a title match, right? And you come back from a fire that he's supposed burning, okay?
Yeah.
And then you try to befriend the guy.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, we're brothers. It's all in the part about Paul Bearer saying all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then only to turn on the Undertaker at Royal Rumble to set his put him in a casket and set him on fire, which was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
The whole build was all really good. As much as some of the hamminess is where Kane's got supernatural powers, leading to the Undertaker. Well, I will not fight my flesh and blood.
Yeah, he's my brother. I love him, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then only to have to fight him at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which took 3 tombstones. Wait, a flying clothesline, a choke slam, and 3 tombstones. Not in a row, of course, but almost in a row. To put Kane down. On the second choke slam, on the second tombstone, Kane puts his own hand on his own chest for the pin. Did you ever notice that?
No.
When you watch it again, you'll see. Watch out after the second tombstone, Kane puts his own hand on his chest for the pin.
Oh, wow.
I was like, huh? Right.
Because I know one of the botches was Kane's pin that he started using earlier on when their hands are out and you hold their hands down, which is really weird.
Well, like the cross, isn't it?
Yeah, no, like instead of their hands being on the cross, it's like their hands were like up above their head, and he would hold their hands down. It looked really weird.
All right. Okay, I have to look at that at some point.
I think they were saying it was a botch, and then he just kept it because it was slightly different from the Undertaker's pin. It's like, okay, makes weird sense.
But yeah, I was like, okay. So I mean, I was like, okay, they knew what they were doing with the Kane character.
Yeah.
And then after this point, suddenly he became even after Undertaker Tombstone and won the match, the third one, right? He sat up and smashed Undertaker with the chair and gave him a tombstone on the chair,
yeah.
So to keep him a viable threat. But then I kind of don't think they really depowered him afterwards, because one Stone Cold Stunner it took for Kane to get pinned.
Yeah.
Like, I never got that. I never got that. But I think also it's partially because, like, as we look through the entire career of Glenn Jacobs, he doesn't seem like a politician. He seems like a guy who will do, like, you tell him to do stuff and he'll do it.
Yeah.
Like,
he seems like a model employee.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way of putting it.
Yeah, but sometimes I think he would have been better off not being a bit more of a politician, if you know what I mean, because some of these bad decisions that he's involved in.
Yeah.
Like the Katie Vixen. Well, first of all, before we get to that, what did you think of it? He won the title he won the WWF title at Hell in the Cell.
Is it Hell in the Cell?
Yeah. No, it was in the Hell in the Cell at Unforgiven, right?
No, he won in the First Blood match.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
You know why I say Hell in the Cell? Because there was a Hell in the Cell. Like, wasn't the cage came down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a Hell in a Cell match earlier that night, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Because I remember what happened was the cell's down, right? Kane wanted a full body suit, by the way, saying that he'd set himself on fire if he loses the First Blood match, right?
Yeah.
And because his entire suit is basically red and black, how are you going to see blood anyways?
Yeah.
And he's got a mask on,
Yep.
right? And blood only counts on your face for some reason.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah, Kane ain't exactly going to lose.
No.
Well, how is he going to lose if he's going to do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But even he didn't win that one properly. Undertaker came in. Well, Mankind came in to interfere.
Chair, innit? Yeah.
Yeah. Mankind came in to interfere first. Undertaker then came in to help Austin, and then he smacked Austin accidentally, I think, with the chair.
Yeah.
To cause him to bleed. While Kane is down as well. So it's like, oh yeah, but I know Stone Cold's your number one, but at the same time, you're not helping Kane by, I mean, like, Stone Cold's gimmick, right? It's not supernatural whatsoever. He's a brawler, right?
Yeah.
So somehow the redneck bionic brawler defeat a guy from hell with supernatural powers. All right.
Yeah, I get why they did it, because I think the plan was to probably put the title on Kane, so then Kane could fight the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing they had buyer's remorse the next night, and then.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think also Austin had something wrong with his elbow at this point as well. Yeah. Because he had the. So why didn't you just give? I mean, Kane is hot at this point. should have given him a title run for a little bit, and then made Austin win it back. But no, he loses the very next day.
Yeah, which
by Austin basically saying, Kane, I demand a rematch, blah, 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 and Kane gives him a rematch by nodding as well because he don't speak at this point. And then Austin beats him with one stunner. Like, right, okay.
Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying is he should have tried to politic to keep it a little bit longer. If he was going to lose it to Austin anyways, but it just kind of didn't really make sense the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
Hold the title for 24 hours. Yeah.
Okay, I just looked it up. The reason I was a Hell in a Cell because the match before was Undertaker versus Mankind at Hell in a Cell at King of the Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Am I getting mixed up then? Oh yeah. Did he win it at King of the Ring? Yeah, not Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unforgiven is the Inferno match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think I still think you're correct about he said if he loses he'll set himself on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, but So I think after that he kind of like really got cooled down because there was when Undertaker and Kane, when it was, what's it called? Was it Breakdown? Yeah. Austin had the title.
Wait, is this when they both pin him and they?
Yeah.
No, I think that's SummerSlam.
Was that SummerSlam?
I think so.
Okay, in either case, right? They both pin him. And in the match, right? Undertaker is not allowed to pin Kane, and Kane is not allowed to pin the Undertaker. So they both have to pin Austin to win the title. Austin can pin either one of them. And Jerry Lawler saying on commentary, Austin has a better chance of winning because he can pin two people, whereas they can only pin one person.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually quite sound logic, Joe. Even from a heel, right?
Yeah.
Quite clever. But yeah, then they end up both pinning
Austin.
Yeah.
And
which the referee counts.
By the way, you're right with breakdown.
Yeah. So. Yeah. They both pin Austin after a double choke slam because Austin ain't going to take a tombstone on his neck.
Yeah.
And then was it McMahon that counted it?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think maybe it's been years,
maybe he chased McMahon to the back afterwards. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. But then so then Undertaker and Kane is the next pay-per-view where because they pinned Austin at the same time. They got to have a decisive winner, right?
No, I think it's if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. They vacate the title, don't they? Did it?
Yeah. The title's vacated. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then it's Undertaker and Kane for the vacant title with Austin as a special guest referee.
Yeah, Judgment Day. Yeah.
And then what he does, he counts them both out and declares himself the winner, right? Yeah. And it's like, okay, it makes no sense, but whatever, right? He's the referee, he can do what he wants, yeah?
Yeah.
And he's Austin. He do what he wants anyways.
Yeah.
And then there was a Survivor Series match because they did the Deadly Games tournament elimination.
Yeah.
Was it 8 people, right? No, was it? Yeah, 8 people. 8. Yeah. And Undertaker and Kane, did he pin in with one tombstone there? Or did he get a double count out?
Double count out because I remember I think it was The Rock was meant to fight one then. He got a bye to the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. Yeah, someone got a bye to the next round. Could be Mankind, I can't remember.
There was some point during all of this, so Undertaker and Kane had another match, and he only took one tombstone to take down Kane. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It took 3 of them before. I'm not saying it's a mirror match or something, but it was like, okay, what happened?
Yeah.
Between then and then. But yeah, that's why I'm thinking they didn't. Somehow he managed to last long with, but between all of that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I remember
good on him.
Like the setup before, the feud between Austin, and Undertaker. I remember there was bits of it as well where Undertaker would dress up as Kane and trick.
Yeah,
all that weird stuff. That was something else I thought.
And what's also funny was as well when Undertaker dressed up as Kane, he'd wear the full body suit.
Yeah.
To cover his tattoos on his arms.
Yeah, You should have known that, but sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you remember the way he lost the tag titles, by the way? When he was teaming with Mankind.
Oh. Didn't he just beat the crap out of Mankind? And then
Yeah, okay, so basically, yes, Undertaker and Kane were teaming up. Kane, Kane and Mankind were teaming up, and then they had somehow Kane turned on him. I don't know exactly what it was, right?
Yeah.
But I remember the SummerSlam match where it was basically New Age Outlaws versus Mankind and Kane, except that Kane didn't bother making an appearance, and Mankind was fighting them both.
Yeah.
And there was a trash compactor, whatever it was there.
Yeah.
The bin, the industrial kind of big ones. And yeah, so the Outlaws 2-on-1 beat up Mankind. They throw him in the thing, and then Kane rises out of it, gets a sledgehammer,
Yeah.
and smashes downward at it. So you're meant to he's meant to hit Mankind. But you're telling me all that time Glenn Jacobs was just hiding in the thingamajig.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how can also the logic is how can you have a tag match where one of the participants, and as for the titles as well, no less, that one of the participants is not even there.
Yeah, I remember they kind of like kayfabed it. Like, what was it that Mankind? They said to Mankind, "You can't do the match," and he insisted that he'll do the match. I was like, all right, you're gonna have to die. Cool.
Yep. So I mean that. Sometimes I think they make storyline take a precedence over. I want to say logic, but of the characters, if you know what I mean. Like they got to have a bit more credibility, being like, nah, we're going to use the storyline to realign them or something like that. So we get a reason why something's happened. But then you're like, logically, it shouldn't happen like that.
Well, it is Mankind. He is that crazy person who would do something like that. So I kind of buy it there.
Mm-hmm.
If it was anyone else, I'd be kind of like, no. Because
you're like, no one likes Mankind.
No, because that too. Because
oh right, you mean like because he would say yes, I'll fight regardless.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, I suppose.
So I'll buy it from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think one of the other highlights I remember of Kane's career is the Royal Rumble 2001, where he lasted like 50 minutes and he was destroying people.
Yeah.
For like a massive chunk of it.
Yeah.
And he threw about 13 people out there, and this is where Austin won, right? Kane came in. What did he come in? In the early numbers, right?
Yeah.
About 7 or something, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
And yeah, he lasted all the way to the end, which Austin then smacked him with a good couple of chair shots and a stunner, and then threw him out. I'm like, but Kane should have won there because he was like the MVP of that.
Story-wise, it would make no sense.
No, yeah, you're right. It wouldn't have made. It doesn't make any sense story-wise, yeah, because you're not going to see Kurt Angle versus Kane at Royal Rumble because that seemed that that Kurt Angle had the title at that time, yeah. But yeah, it's just like Kane, like they did something with him, and then they're like, nah, we ain't gonna do this with him, like, But that was like I think that was the last major opportunity of stuff. No. He did the good in the what's it called? The 2-man power trip versus the Brothers of Destruction. That was another highlight.
That's later on when him and Undertaker squashed their beef and became Brothers of Destruction. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where Triple H and Stone Cold were having the Intercontinental title and the World title, and Kane and Undertaker had the tag titles, and then they did the All for the Gold Money Rush, whatever you want to call it.
Rush.
Yeah.
That's what New
and it was like,
yeah,
and you're like, well, I kind of guess who I know. I'm pretty sure I know who's lowest on the totem pole. That's going to take the pin in these matches.
Yeah, of course. Mr. Jacobs, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's model employee. Like, At what point did you think his credibility as far as as Unstoppable Monster started dwindling?
To me personally, I don't think he ever really did.
No?
Nah. Like, maybe slightly when he did the Corporate Kane stuff. That was funny, but I don't think... to me, unlike the Big Show, where he kind of became... I love the Big Show and everything, but he kind of became like a joke at some point where you're like, I can't really take it seriously. Kane never really went through that. Even when he was in like Team Hell No and stuff, he still was a viable threat.
Okay.
Like I've never seen him being champion again, but he was still like he would murder people. He always had that like mystique to him. To me.
Okay, so if we say Kane at his introduction, invincibility level pretty high actually. Let's just say 9 or 10, well 9.5, 10ish, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they settled him down to after that storyline, because that was their major sticking point. After that, I think he just dwindled to invincibility level 7ish. 8-ish, not 8, sorry, 7, 6-ish.
Kind of even more than that. I still say he was quite high because he wasn't like getting a super kick and he was out, stuff like that. You know what I mean? He was always.
Well, I think what they like. Okay, so the higher tier people could beat him, the main eventers, right? But the upper mid card maybe like it's more 50-50, yeah.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say he beat mid carders all the time.
The upper mid carders.
Even upper mid carders, really.
Oh, yeah?
Like the only upper mid carder I could see at that point when that person was the upper mid carder was like Jericho. I think it's the only person I remember beating Kane.
Oh my goodness!
Legitly.
Go on. Yeah.
So.
Do you remember what their feud was about?
Yeah, him spilling coffee on him. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jericho had the coffee cup where he was drinking his coffee and stuff like that. I think he just turned around and Kane was there and he just accidentally nudged into him and his coffee cup spilled and then Kane's like, "Oh, it reminds me of the fire it burns like how the fire burnt me when I was a child, right? Yeah. And therefore I shall murder you because I feel, it's like. But did you remember?
Was this after or before? After he lost the mask or when he still had the mask?
Still had the mask, I think, because no, this is still had the mask. I'm pretty sure. Did you remember how Jericho won that match? The last man standing match they had.
No.
So I think they I can't remember what it was, the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But he had
Armageddon.
Yeah. They had the barrels.
Yeah.
And what Jericho tipped the barrels over Kane. So Kane couldn't, and then he stood on the barrel. Like, it's like the empty stage barrels, yeah?
Yeah.
The metal ones. And Kane couldn't obviously stand up because obviously it's like at an angle, yeah?
Yeah.
So the barrels landed on something so Kane could stay underneath it without being hurt. Yeah. And then you see Kane's hand trying to reach up in between the gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, when the undead come out of their grave. It was kind of happy at the same time.
Yeah.
Jericho's at the top on top of the barrels and he's trying to kick the hand. It was like, all right. Okay, I'm not sure how serious that's supposed to be taking this, right?
Yeah.
But that kind of loss, yeah. I'm like, okay, fair enough, it makes sense. But some of these other losses to certain people, I don't think he should have taken, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can see, like, later on, I can see what you're talking about. But even then, he still was a threat. He wasn't like...
Yeah. What did you think when he won the Intercontinental title? And he did a Hurricane Rana to Albert?
Yeah, that was awesome. It was confusing, but awesome.
I gotta say, that surprised me, because I never thought he was that agile. He nearly dropped on his own head, but luckily he knew how to, to cover his bases, right? But it was like, whoa, all right, that's something.
Yeah, but then he lost it. Then he lost in the championship to Albert, didn't he? That's what it's saying on Wikipedia.
He won it from Albert.
He won it from Triple H.
Yeah.
And then he lost it to Albert due to interference from DDP, because this is during the whole invasion thing.
Yeah. But I think he won the first time around. He won the title off Albert, right? Am I so enamored with his Hurricane Rana that I on Albert that I just assumed that he won the title off Albert?
Oh no, I think you're wrong. No, he lost it to Albert, and I think in that same match. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's maybe maybe I'm mixed up there somewhere.
That's crazy. I totally forgot that Albert was Intercontinental Champion as well. But...
Yeah. So did I. I mean, not so did I, but just like, I was like, okay. My brain just kind of assigned it to him, but not really. I knew he had the match against Kane.
Yeah, so I just thought Kane automatically won, but no, he lost.
Yeah, I mean, when he won the Intercontinental Championship against Triple H, right? It was a. I remember him having an Intercontinental, because this is when it still was the 2-man power trip.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, he's secondary. He's not. He hadn't going to reach the. It doesn't seem like they were keeping him protected to keep the main event level heights he was when he started at that point.
No, because he lost it due to interference. So I still say he's pretty high. It's not like he legit got was an A bomb and then got pinned. He got.
What did you think when Kane started speaking?
I was okay with it because they kind of kayfabed it in a good way. So I was like, I'm alright with this.
Wait. So my logic was this, yeah. So Paul Bearer had to do speaking for him because he got burnt in the fire and his vocal cords. I assume, right? I'm just saying, if you can't speak, right?
Mm.
Are you saying the logic is he was inhaling the flames, they burnt his lungs as well?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah. And then he had to use the voice box to speak, right?
Yeah.
And then he joined DX. No, he joined. Yeah. He teamed with X-pac. And Keynes then had 2 words for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And he was going to use the voice boxing to speak. And then X-pac's like, no, you don't need that, Kane. You don't need that. You can speak to the mic without it. And then all of a sudden he had regained the ability to speak after what we're talking about 15 years since from the fire in the asylum or wherever in Paul Bearer's basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because power of friendship.
Yeah, apparently. Now we're gonna obviously skip around, right? Because we're not gonna it's only things that we remember at the time, yeah. And obviously what we remember going next, yeah. Is if he was in Paul Bearer's basement for however many years he was, right? How did you get to Katie Vick? How did he go to school, right?
Yeah.
As far as the character's concerned, and I've got to say, I want to pat Glenn Jacobs on the back and say for going through the story. Now, at the same time, I think he should have said, I mean, with Triple H involved as well, they should have just kept being like, no, maybe not, maybe not. I mean, this is like a bit too much of a team player.
Yeah. Because apparently, Kane or Triple H didn't want to do this, but it was all Vince, isn't it? So like,
yeah. What did you? Okay, first of all, I was like, okay, how can he be able to speak here? But whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now you're telling me he went to school, learned to drive, asked to go out, who was a cheerleader, and they then had crashed their car, and he survived and she didn't.
Yeah.
And then what? Were you in a fire in a car and then got put in Paul Bearer's basement? Because Undertaker supposedly burnt the funeral home when he was a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, what?
What? I don't think you meant to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think they think about it. And that's the problem. Yeah, I was like, this don't make sense. Like, if you even tried, when they were first talking about the Katie Vick stuff, right? And I was like, okay, so I assume, do you want to say that he was in the mental asylum and she was also there, right? Because that might make sense. Or do you want to say it's like one of those things where he was in Paul Bearer's basement, burnt or whatever, right? And but he made friends with. Oh no, that'd be creepy if he makes friends with a girl in Paul Bearer's basement. No.
Like, the only thing I can think of, if they did this storyline after he lost his mask, then it would make more sense. Yeah. Because then you can say that he made up all that stuff in his head.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, but that's what kind of they did do after. Yeah. When he lost his mask. But did you buy the explanation of why he lost his mask, by the way?
Yeah, I was alright with it.
Yeah. That basically. What were they saying? Okay. During the Katie Vick saga, Triple H, it was Kane's mask versus Triple H for the title, right? Triple H's world title, yeah?
It was this. It was world title plus the Intercontinental title would get merged into the World Heavyweight title.
So logically speaking, by the way,
yeah.
Kane's like, yep, okay, I'll put my mask and my Intercontinental title on the line for your one title.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not. Yeah, it's not very smart. Okay.
No.
Anyways, yeah. He gets defeated. Has to take off his mask. Rob and Nam comes out because they're tag teaming at that time, and he's like, okay. He takes up. He looks away from the camera, takes his mask off, turns back to the camera, right? And it's like got that eye makeup on, right? Because when he's wearing a mask, obviously it can't be flesh color, he's meant to be burnt, right? So they put the black eye makeup on him. And it's like takes up half his face. And then his hair only is half his head. So like, what? What? Okay. I mean, he's losing his hair as well.
Yeah, it was weird, isn't it? Because he had like half a head. He had like half, like the front part of his head was shaved, but then he had long. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
I mean, maybe logically they were trying to merge the wig and the and his actual hair together, and it just made the most logical sense. But then you got to think, right? Dude's walking around in the streets, yeah, with a super mullet, like with a half head mullet.
Yeah.
That's got to be wacky. Yeah.
But I'm pretty like, unless it was I really don't know.
Yeah, do you think he only shaved a half his head for that occasion? But then again,
I think
at the
so.
same time,
because like when you look at it before, his hair looks real.
Yeah.
Like it's actually his hair.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's something I ask myself every now and then. Like this is weird.
So then he choke slams Rob Van Dam as his turn. But and then he starts coming out with no makeup in his eyes anymore, right?
Yeah.
And his head's fully shaven.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, all right, fair enough. I could probably buy the black eye if you just keep on having black eye makeup. You know, that kind of like thingamajig, that look, that vibe. Then it makes sense. But it's just like when Michael Keaton was Batman and his eyeshadow makeup disappeared.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense considering this is what, like several years now he's had it.
Yeah. Was
about 5 years, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you know what though, if Kane was walking around with that like eye makeup thing, and just like patchy eye makeup we're talking about, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be pristine, perfect all the time. Would you think that would be a better look for him?
No.
And then eventually transition out of that into no makeup?
No, it would make no sense to me.
Okay, okay, not to poke a hole in what you're saying, right? Not to criticize you either, but you're saying a man takes off his mask, has eye makeup, and then next time he appears, he doesn't have makeup and doesn't have eye makeup, and that makes more sense to you.
Yeah, because
right.
When he gives an explanation why he wore the mask, it made sense to me. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That I good. Got. Do you want to give that explanation?
Yeah. So basically, his explanation is that he did get burnt, but it wasn't as bad as it felt. But he feels mentally, it was like a mental trigger in his head. So he always thought he had a burnt face. So he wore the mask to hide away from people because they would judge him for what he did. You know,
what didn't happen to him? Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess.
Yeah, that I do buy. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, as much as the hype of it's Kane's unmasking because it was burnt, and then it turns out he wasn't burnt. But then again, he started. So he came in with the full body suit, right? One arm exposed, and then occasionally he wore the full one where both arms were covered up, right?
Yeah.
But I think at this point he started wearing the one with the both arms exposed.
Yeah.
And like the mesh chest thing.
Hmm.
The mesh kind
the
of
red
like
belt
so
bits things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you could see most of them wasn't burnt anyways, right? But yeah. So.
Which was my favorite.
Well, it was quite a yes, it was a nice costume. I think probably the original King costume was one of his better ones though.
Yeah.
More iconic look. More Jason Voorhees kind of look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, that was awesome one.
Mm-hmm.
Or when he had the colour in reverse, like the flames were red and the suit was black. Yeah, that was cool as well. That one.
Yeah. I just kind of like, I was like, okay, so what were you thinking when Triple H beat him? When that match was happening, yeah?
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, now Kane's lost. What were you expecting underneath that mask?
I don't know. That was the thing. Yeah. I was like, because I remember watching this live. I say live. I watched it on the Friday when it shot on Sky. I was like, oh, where's this going to go? Is he really burnt? But I kind of already gathered that he wasn't burned. because I was like a 16, 18-year-old person at this time, so I kind of knew wrestling was fake and that stuff at this point. But I was like, I wonder how they're gonna get around this.
Yeah. So was I actually. And then they just basically said, "Well, it's all in his mind." They're like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah,
right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, close enough. 2 cents.
I mean, some of the stuff I remember from Kane, it's not necessarily the good stuff, right? That's what I gotta say about it. But then when you have a lengthy career like this, you got to be like, I mean, sometimes you'll be in stuff that people remember for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Right. 1 second. Let me just pause. Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess like you can't really choose certain things you do, even though, like you were saying before, you should have more say in certain things relating to your character. But Kane.
Yeah. What was that? Yeah. Oh yeah. So another thing.
Yeah.
Another storyline that flopped, right? Well, I would just say Kane Vic flopped storyline wise. It's definitely drew attention, wrong kind of attention, but yeah.
The feud between him and Triple H didn't need it, so I wouldn't say it flopped, but it wasn't.
And what about the unmasking afterwards?
The unmasking, because everything that happened afterwards was, in my opinion, was awesome. So I'm happy with the unmasking bit.
Okay. All right. And what about the imposter Kane?
That was weird.
All right.
That was...
Go on.
Even though it was a slightly better version of Imposter Undertaker, but it was still stupid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kane was talking about May the 7th, was it? Or November the 7th? Something like that,
No,
right?
It was like May 17th, was it? May 19th?
Yeah.
No, May 19th. May 19th.
Yeah. For some reason, right? And he's holding his mask. Basically, he stole the Kane mask from someone else who was worse than him, right? And then it was like, okay, so logically, what are you trying to say to me? Kane here, Glenn Jacobs Kane, is the fake Kane, and there's a real Kane?
Yeah.
Is that what you're implying? So this guy here is not the Undertaker's brother. He's just been pretending to be Undertaker's brother for
X amount of years.
Yeah. Right. And then he to be fair, he's acting pretty well.
Yeah.
This guy up, right?
Yeah.
The real Kane apparently.
Yeah.
And then when the real Kane finally appears in the old school classic Kane costume, right?
Yeah.
With super frizzy hair.
Yeah, obvious wig. Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like a Halloween store knockoff, right? A bit like how when you see them classic Halloween suits where they've got the Harlequin Halloween suit.
Yeah.
And it's called My Chemical Romance time, right?
Yeah.
Then you got the Mario knockoff suit. The Super Mario knockoff suit is Italian plumber, right?
Yeah.
And you got blue porcupine for Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of what this guy looked like.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah. And so Glenn Jacobs Kane, lost a match to the quote-unquote real Kane, right?
Yeah.
And but that match got booed so bad. The very next day, Glenn Jacobs Kane beats up the real quote-unquote real Kane, right?
Yeah.
Throws him all over the place, throws him out of the building, grabs his mask, said this is mine, and just kind of Sparta kicks him. I want to say Sparta kicks him out of the building, but he doesn't really. I think he just grabbed him and threw him out of the building from by the head, but kept but he kept hold of the mask. So the guy went out. The guy being Luke Gallows / Festus. And they was like, all right, so your storyline was so bad, and you accepted it, how bad it was, right? And you just be like, okay, well, we're aborting this right away.
Yeah, it's never happened.
No, I mean, but I want to say they were a bit stubborn because they didn't just. Yeah, once you saw fake Kane, I think they still took it to the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
and then they realized how. I think when the match got crapped on, that's when they realized, okay, well, let's finish this. Let's get it done. Let's get it dusted, and let's move on. Pretend it never happened.
Yeah, and all good for doing that because it was.
Yeah.
Because I reading here, like apparently May 19th is the day where his mother and adoptive family were killed in a fire.
Yeah, but I do believe it was the day that See No Evil was coming out, right? Where it was Jacob Goodnight.
I think. Well, it says here that after he left TV for 2 months to promote that around Europe,
Yeah.
so yeah, it probably is.
Let me. Let's not forget his. Have you seen the See No Evils?
Yeah, I've seen the first one. Didn't bother the second one.
Yeah, but I want to say it's more of the same. But if you like horror movies, right? I mean slasher movies, then you'll enjoy these films because, and it fits well with his persona, his character, the Kane character.
Yeah,
fits well within these movies because it's basically that transition to that, and he was basically kind of that to begin with. So yeah, nice for Glenn Jacobs there.
Yeah, because I like the first one. I like it.
The second one's more of the same. So you probably should watch it at some point. But
think about
it. Yeah. It's the gimmick of Kane being more like a slasher movie villain. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's the draw, anyways. WWE films, so you know exactly what's going to happen there.
Yeah,
it's not
around this time as well. He used to come to the ring with a hook in it. For a bit.
Just basically plays a sidetrack of the same character essentially.
Good on him.
So another thing I remember is so after he lost his mask and he was feuding with Rob Van Dam, and he beat Rob Van Dam for the feud. Then he, for some reason, he was beefing with Shane McMahon. I do believe this is when he started going on his rampage Linda's like, no, Linda McMahon's like, Kane, you got to stop it. And then Kane basically tombstays on the ramp. And then Kane, then Shane comes out to defend the honor of his mother.
Yeah.
And somehow is doing better than Rob Van Dam, who's a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And Kane ties up Shane to an ambulance. Yeah. Pulls out a battery. Like,
not to an ambulance. He ties it. He ties him up to the ring post.
Oh, the ring post. Yeah.
Because he kidnaps him in an ambulance. But
Sorry. No, I knew there was an ambulance involved somewhere. And
ambulance matches 5 Series. That's what I'm thinking of.
And then he electrocutes Shane's balls.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, okay. Somehow, Super Shane is capable of withstanding all this punishment. You know, like, okay. I think if I was Rob Van Dam, I'd be like raising my eyebrow to this entire lot because, like, I know he's the boss's son, but kayfabe-wise, that means he's more powerful than I am. I'm not powerful, but you know, his abilities are more potent than mine, which, you know, it's got to be weird. But then again, Paul Logan can beat The Miz, so, you know.
I'll just say, if I was in this situation, you know what I think? Yeah. I'm getting paid either way, so I don't care.
But I mean, I think that's the logic with Glenn Jacobs as well. I've got to say.
Yeah.
He was getting big money, so. But at the same time, it's like, but you could be, if you politic to a certain degree, you could be getting, if you cared about money, and you kept your credibility as a character, like as a person character, then you get higher up the card and get more money.
I think he's happy with what he can.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. I mean, not to like, you know, throw shade at him. I mean, because he's had a long career, of course, and I mean, prior to the Kane character, I don't think he was. So you remember the screw job? Yeah, the Montreal screw job.
Yeah.
And Mick Foley, being the cool guy he is, basically was saying that we should have a walkout and stuff like that because of it, right?
Yeah.
And Kane was one of the people that said to him, "Look, Mick, unfortunately, it took so much of my career to get to this point. If I lose this, I might have nothing, you know."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, that's fair enough. That's kind of fair, right?
Yeah.
But that's like what you're saying, you know, like he got to a point of career where it's like, okay, I'm comfortable now.
Yeah.
But you know, Any specific things you can recall from Kane's career? Because there was some stuff. I'll bring up some other stuff later on.
Okay, but during this time period, or
back and forth, whatever, whenever you want, anything that pops out.
The bit later after what we've been talking about, where he basically, I don't want to say the word, but he's
I know where you go right away
with Edge, with Lita and Matt Hardy.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
whole
that whole debacle, right?
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, first of all, I don't know where they were going with this. I think he was. So Lita was with Matt Hardy, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly, Kane, the demon man Kane, right, is so horny for redheads that he will beat up Matt Hardy continuously until Lita gave into his persuasion.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
physical persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And then he did the deed, and then and then he tried to make her marry him.
Yeah, because no, she got pregnant. So he, being the good guy that he is,
we laughed
to marry her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though she came out in a black gown because she was like a funeral, like her funeral thing.
Yeah.
But let me I have to say this, right? As far as the character concerned, he did what he did here, yeah, and that makes him despicable, right?
Yeah.
But somehow they made him they did something else and made him you cheer for him, which was amazing, right?
Which made
so
sense.
Yeah. Are you talking about Snitsky or Edge?
Yeah. That's what a Skitsy thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Snitsky. Okay. So apparently, Lita's pregnant with Kane's baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forcibly, might I add.
Yeah.
And Snitsky has issues with Kane or whatever, right? I think he knocked over Lita and she fell on her stomach and it killed the baby, right?
Yeah, miscarried from that. Yeah.
Yeah. She comes down next on Raw, the next Raw, and basically says she has a miscarriage, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Snitsky comes out with a pram with a toy baby inside it. You know, the baby dummy things, right?
Yeah.
And he taunts her with it, and then he kicks the baby into the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, this is so nuts, yeah? This is so next level nuts. I don't know what is going on.
No.
I don't know who. It was so absurd, right?
Yep.
That I was like so shocked, yeah? That I was like, is this really happening? Even though it is, right? I was like, okay. And then Kane, like, obviously she's in tears or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And Kane comes out to beat up Snitsky. And I'm like, okay, so somehow you managed to turn the crowd. I think there's like one of those things where would you say you put heat on the company for being so heartless?
I don't
Or do you think they always planned it? Go on.
Around this time, I don't think if it's happened now, they would get heat for this. But then I don't think nothing really happened. I don't think they had like proper investors and stuff, so they could get away with a lot more than they can get away with now.
But when you saw that happen, were you like, wow, you know? I
was like, more confused than anything, honest. I wasn't turned on. I was like, this is weird. Okay.
Do you always think they meant to turn Kane using that, using Snitsky as a what's it called? As a fall guy?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's no coming back from. Okay, no, there is coming. Okay, whatever, like how you assaulted Lydia, right?
Yeah.
But how are you meant to come back from that career, like what you did there, right? And somehow they magically were able, not magically, but it's just like you just have to make someone even more despicable, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it made no. I don't know.
Yeah. But somehow as well, even after that, right? Now Lita's the victim here, yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow I say magic, like so. This is all weird, right? But yeah, it had hints of real life as well, right? Because Lita cheated on Matt Hardy with Edge in real life.
Yeah, because he comes
later. Yeah. So when Kane's feuding with Snitsky, and they're shouting at Lita, "You're a slut."
Yeah.
Then there has to be something like, well, she's meant to be the victim in this whole storyline, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so WWF in their logic was like, okay, she's Sheila Mahadi, and they're calling her whatever they're calling her, right?
Yeah.
But then they kind of tried to redirect the chance that in kayfabe that she cheated on Kane with Edge.
Yeah.
But then when you think back to the logic of she didn't even want to be in a relationship with Kane anyways, so you would want to wreck that relationship.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, she's probably a genius.
Yeah.
And now he's the victim, according to the logic that the WWE wants to present, because Leah's now a heel, right?
Yeah.
How well did you think they pulled that off? Because I was like,
I don't know. Like, I reckon if the whole real life thing didn't happen, this storyline would have been a bit longer. But
yeah. But
yeah.
The way that they had to convert the storyline, logically speaking, right? I'd be like, so you're just trying to transfer, you're trying to make sense of it the outside context of your problem back into your storyline, right? And I was like, okay, fine. And now Leah's a heel and with Edge, because we have to accept that also happens in real life, yeah? So this thing with Kane, this relationship with Kane, also, we have to move on from that. So like, okay, you guys kind of did what you had to do, yeah? Whether it makes any sense or not, I mean, the realignments are the realignments regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more and more I think about it, the more weird the whole thing was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what did you? Okay, so you remember how Kane got his mask back? Yep.
Yeah, he just came back with it out of nowhere.
Wait, hold on. Am I? No. Okay, tell me if I'm mistaken in the timeline somewhere, right?
Alright.
But wasn't he walking around with a bag that had his mask on it? And he was taunting like he was going to beat up someone else, right? Who had the mask. And then inside that mask was the bag of the mask of Rey Mysterio.
No. You're confusing that. Okay. That was when somehow randomly the Undertaker was in a coma.
Yeah.
And Kane saying, I know you did it. It was a guy with a mask. And then everyone's like, who's he talking about? And that's when he brought out the Rey Mysterio mask and had a feud with Rey Mysterio. And then you found out that Kane really was the one who...
It was Kane all along, right?
Yeah.
Took him about 12 years to get the World Heavyweight title, yeah?
Yeah.
Which I think he deserved at this point. I mean, like... yeah. I mean, he had a decent run with it as well, no less.
Yeah.
I mostly fought the Undertaker, but it's like, well, yeah. But I think it was more of a, a like you said, a good employee kind of reward rather than an actual title reign, because he then never sniffed near the title again.
No.
Well, no, he did. He was in high-profile matches as a big threat, but not really.
Yeah.
Title opportunity. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think you're right though. He just suddenly appeared with the mask back on, and he had when he was feuding with John Cena to tell him to embrace the hate. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. What about? I mean, another highlight of his career was Team Hell No. I found that pretty.
Yeah,
funny.
that was awesome. I love Team Hell No. That was great.
Yeah. Where he teamed with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
They had anger management control issues.
Yeah, both of them. Those skits were hilarious. They were.
Yeah.
Like when Kane basically tells the whole group in therapy he's convoluted backstory, even he says it's convoluted. I was like, this is hilarious. They broke the
I like that they acknowledge it within themselves, and then they had to try and keep the storyline logic going.
Yeah. That was the best.
But I think it helped as well that they were both like, I think Daniel Bryan's popularity helped Kane's popularity in a way. Like it helped Kane from going stagnant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also the rivals in the other end of it was the Shield also helped, because they were heel. The Shield was like the invincible heels, and people wanted to see them get beat.
Yeah.
And it was good that they prolonged the Shield's undefeated 3-man tag, or for a while. Even though CM Punk managed to beat them by himself, so that was something. Yeah. So the Shield can beat you 3-on-3, right? But it can't beat you 3-on-1.
Like, they did kind of... JBL did say something about it, and it kind of made sense when he said it. I was like, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, no, they've, like, mastered being a 3-man team, so single matches isn't really their thing at the moment. I was like, hey, I'm glad that you kind of, like, explained that, I guess, But, yeah, logic still makes no sense.
Yeah. So the Team Hell No thing. What did you think of so when Daniel Bryan won the title and his first feud was with Kane?
Yeah.
And Kane being as though he's Jacob Goodnight, where he'd come out from the bottom of the mat and grab Daniel Bryan and put him down to hell. No, was it he called things Brie Bella like she was the female bimbos that run away all the time and trip over themselves. And then grab Daniel from the ring and grab Daniel Bryan from the ring and pull him down to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella kind of coming out through the gap or whatever it is and just scrambling away like cowards. And like, what?
Yeah. It was a weird story.
But I did enjoy. I did kind of like the match that they had, Daniel Bryan and Kane. They did have a blow off match, which was meant to be longer, but I think Daniel Bryan had his issues, the neck issues or something like that, so he couldn't really.
Isn't this when there was a forklift involved, right?
Yeah. And I think he did the damage headbutt from the forklift.
There we go. Yeah.
And they were pretty certain that he was going to, because he went to get his surgery or whatever, and they thought he was going to come back, in a couple of months, because there's a storyline where Brie Bella, definitely was going to strip Bryan of the title.
Yeah.
And Brie Bella says, no, you can't. And then basically Brie Bella and Stephanie were going to have a match. For Brie Bella and Stephanie were going to have, Stephanie and Man were going to have a match as to whether Bryan got stripped of his title or not. I'm like, all right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess.
Yeah. In which Brie Bella won, but Daniel Bryan got stripped of his title later on because they realized he couldn't come back from his. He couldn't hold it. He couldn't come back in time for his I think I think the recovery time was longer than they expected.
Right? Yeah. So they had to sort of.
Yeah.
Which was okay, I guess.
But if they didn't, they probably would have made Stephanie win that match. Actually, it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
What did you think of Corporate Kane?
I liked Corporate Kane. It was the best.
Yeah. Where basically, I mean, as far as I believed in Corporate Kane, that's when his power level just got cut in half.
Somehow, when he was corporate, when he was in the suit and the shirt and the dress pants, his powers were kind of cut. But then when he would bring out the demon, he was still strong. Yeah.
Which I found hilarious. First of all, he was wrestling around in trousers. Yeah. Must be Chuck Norris action trousers.
Yeah.
But there was the one bit where he wasn't in the Rumble at all, right? And he threw CM Punk out of the Rumble. I'm sure you watched it live at that time. I think it was the Rumble 2014.
Yep.
And he was so silly. He was hiding behind a barricade. I say he was hiding behind a barricade because someone got thrown out, right? And then the barricade fell, and Kane fell with the barricade, even though he was meant to be hiding behind it, right? And then he had to, but he was meant to enter the match later on to throw CM Punk out. I think the camera cut from the bit where the barricade fell over.
Yeah.
And then he had to kind of put the barricade. I think on live TV he had to put the barricade back on.
Oh wow.
Or whatever. Because he had to come out as the appropriate time, but and what it was, he looked like a kind of a bumbling fool. Because he was crouched behind the barricade, and then he because he was leaning against it, obviously, it fell, and then he rolled.
Yeah.
Falling on it. Yeah. It was like, okay, you can't. How you? Yeah.
I don't come from this. Yeah.
Yeah. If I was to, I mean, obviously it's not time to come out, but would you think the most logical decision was basically just stand up there and just go to do your spot? Unless it's unless it's too far away from the thing where your spot is, but then you've got to try and buy time rather than reset your position because you kind of,
it's a hard one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could think of to do there it's probably just you roll out, you stand up, and you just like start mouthing off at CM Punk around the ring, trying to pretend, quote unquote, distract him, right? Until you get to the point where you can do your spot. Otherwise, you're looking a bit,
I think it would have took away the surprise, even though the surprise was spot. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't his fault. The surprise, whatever.
Yeah.
I wasn't a super fan of Corporate Kane, but I can understand how his power level dropped, and I can accept how certain people defeated him. That have no right to defeat him because the power of the allure of being a company man somehow removes your supernatural powers. I don't know. They never gave an explanation for it. But if we're going to go by the logic of fake Undertaker was lured by the money of the $1 Million Man, Kane was promised power in a corporate environment, so he gave up his supernatural powers.
Yeah, he gave up his supernatural powers for health benefits. Yeah.
yeah.
So you got to think about it.
Yeah. All right. I mean, whatever. I don't want. There was just sharp, no explanation, nothing, right? No. And then he just got depowered so much. Right. All right. Yeah.
But I did like the bits when they would tease that he was getting angry and then like the background start going red. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's cool. That's dope. I like that. Oh, Kane. Bless him.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, any standout matches other than it's funny, the Undertaker versus Kane match, the first one they had at the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania 14.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good match. Even though when you look at it, like it's more of the storyline spectacle that makes it a better match.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to say it's not too big. It's kind of two athletic big man kind of brawling. Yeah. But the fact that it was Undertaker was selling for him a lot, making it look like a massive threat. That's what helped it along as well.
Yeah. I did prefer the WrestleMania 20 match, just because the one build up and stuff.
But you've got to reset before that, by the way, because you got to. Do you remember how the Undertaker got buried in the first place?
Yeah.
Go on, give me. I can't.
That was when he was feuding with Vince McMahon over Stephanie McMahon, because Vince was on his power trip and he wanted to fight Stephanie, and Undertaker like, dude, you can't fight your daughter. That's bad. So then
Undertaker, the American Badass, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And then he's about to bury Vince in the car. It was a very live match. He's trying to bury him, and then Kane comes out, attacks him, hits him with a tombstone, a literal tombstone, and then buries him. And he's like, "The Undertaker's gone. He didn't say he has his powers, but he goes, "Yeah, I'm like, I am captain now," sort of thing. And then they start teasing Undertaker coming back. Obviously, they wait to WrestleMania so he can grow his hair back, even though his hair didn't grow back long enough in time. But and that's when he came back as a dead man.
Let me sprinkle something in as well, like you were saying about the storyline, right? I do believe when Undertaker was the American Badass, at that point, Kane was saying, that man is not my brother, because he's not the Undertaker.
Yeah, he's saying he's become weak and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, okay, I shall bury him because he's beneath me or something.
Yeah, he should die. Basically, he's beneath. He's not what he used to be, so he doesn't deserve to be alive. Basically.
Yeah, I put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
Hold on, can we give it a pause here? I just need to call my mum.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Go.
Yeah, he buried Undertaker. Sorry, and then. Yeah, then they built their feud and...
Yeah, where Undertaker was... Whether he was going to come back or not, right? And if he was going to... if he's going to come back, which version of the Undertaker he's come back as?
Yeah.
The dead man, the American Badass, whatever, right? The undead wizard, however you want to put it, right? And he came back as a combination of all three.
Yeah.
All his gimmicks, kind of. Basically. He's sit up, but he's agile like the American Badass.
He was
and a bit like the Lord of Dark, dressed a bit like the Lord of Darkness and stuff like that. So yeah. But I think Kane was a transition person in that feud, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was more like Undertaker transitioning back to Undertaker, and Kane was the person to what's it called? Help that
Kane was plot device. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you remember Kane had a ladder match? I can't remember if you remember which one. I think it was TLC 3, maybe. It was Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy.
TLC, it was TLC 3, yeah.
Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy. Kane, no, hold on. Jericho and Christian, I think.
No, Jericho and Chris Benoit.
Oh yeah, and Kane and Hurricane.
Yeah.
And was there someone else in there? Was there another tag match? Maybe.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Jeff Hardy and Bubba Ray.
Jeff Hardy and Bubba Ray, not Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam.
No.
Okay, maybe I'm mixed up somewhere. But the Hurricane couldn't make it for the match, and Kane had to fight the TLC tag match by himself, and he won. So it was like, okay,
yeah,
that makes sense though. I mean, he's the big rig machine.
Yeah. Monster. Yeah.
Yeah. Any matches you remember specifically that you enjoyed of Kane's? Oh, because I think he's always had decent matches.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes the storylines stand out over the matches.
Yeah.
And you remember the certain key ones.
Yes.
That because they had some of them have good build and some of them don't have good build, and you just remember the middling stuff you don't really remember, right? But you just remember the things on both sides of the equation.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's why he's always like been prominent to me. Like, he's never really been like a sort of background character. He's always sort of he's been there. So, So yeah, Kane's great.
I will. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What do you think when he won the ECW title?
It was out of nowhere. It was pretty good.
When you say out of nowhere, what you mean was because he choke slammed. He just basically Chavo was looking at the entrance and Kane just choked
like even the whole reason for him to get in the title shot because he won the Battle Royale on the pre-show WrestleMania 20, whatever it was, and then he came out, choked Sam Chavo, and that was it. Yeah. That was like really.
What about when he won the world title the second time?
Against Ray, I like that. He cashed in on him. Yeah, that was good. That run
made sense to me. So he won the Money in the Bank earlier in the pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
And then Jack Swagger had his match with Ray.
Yeah.
Ray hurt Ray's ankle, tried to attack him off the bell or something like that as well. And then Kane chased him off to the back, right?
Yeah.
That's the way they make sense to me, anyways. Kane chased Jack Swagger off to the back, right? And then they played entrance music to come out again. Like, right, okay.
Okay.
I mean, fair enough, you're going to tombstone Rey Mysterio and take his title away from him, yeah? But they play your music twice? What's that about?
Yeah, it just made no sense.
Well, no, the first time when he chased him out, the people assumed that was going to be the cash-in, and I think they cheered as well.
Yeah.
But then when he had to run to the back, only to come out again, it was like, oh, so plot twist, but double plot twist.
Basically, that's what it was, yeah.
Should have just had him come out, chase off Jack Swagger. Not chase him, legit run off, right? Or chokeslam Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
And then you chokeslam Ray and then pin him, because that would have made the most sense.
Yeah, it would have made sense, but this is wrestling in the mid-2000s. Nothing made sense.
What did you think of him in the first Elimination Chamber?
Oh, yeah, he was awesome in the first Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I think they booked him well. He took
like everyone to beat him, innit?
Yeah. I think he took an axe kick, super kick, and a pedigree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And and a lion salt, right?
Yes.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think at certain points when they need him to be a monster, they will protect him, and other times they kind of like don't protect him so much.
Yeah.
But hey, to be fair, he's won a good decent amount of titles during his career.
Yeah, he's had a long career as well, so good on him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but then at this point he's winning 24/7 title and stuff like that. So it's like,
Well,
I don't think
he retired by that point. He won the 24 title. So
yeah, I think when he had the hardcore title as well, I thought that's actually pretty well.
Yeah,
pretty decent like reign. Yeah, so I will say he's worthy of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
of course.
big time.
And I have to say also, not because as a guy with a long extended career who's won quite a lot of titles and whatever, like, and been prominent, but it's just like, dude has been in some crappy feuds and crappy storylines, yeah.
Yeah.
But
who hasn't?
Well, no, that he's been in some especially crappy ones, and you're like, but as an employee, if I was employing him, I'd be like, dude, you're the man because you accept all of this, right? Not without like any troubles that we don't know about because we're not backstage and so on. But it's just like he does it, and you're like, you're a good man. You're a good guy for doing it, even though sometimes I don't think you should be doing it. You know?
Yeah. But I guess I can't say. I guess he just probably didn't want aggro in it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but speaking of his movie career.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Did you ever see him in Smallville? Did you? You probably didn't see him in Smallville.
Yeah, I did see him in Smallville. Yeah, when he was.
Oh, did you watch that episode especially, or did you?
No, I was watching Smallville at the time, so I watched it anyway.
Right. So his gimmick there was he was from the Phantom Zone, and he was a cage fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Welling Superman Tom Welling Clark Kent. Managed to fight him, and I was like, to be fair, Tom Welling's like 6'3" or something like that. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Kane's an even bigger guy, right? So it looked like a decent matchup for Superman. And he uppercuts him onto his own spike. Like, so he has a spike attached to his arm, right?
Yeah.
That's what he uses to kill people. And somehow when Clark uppercuts him, he goes into the sky, lands in the front bump, but somehow stabs himself through to eliminate himself. Yeah. You're like, huh? How did you kill himself? You kill yourself like that? Yeah. But whatever. But even then, out of the context of wrestling, he still does the job. Even does the job as Jacob Goodnight twice. So
yeah, he does.
But I will say this, right? As far as inside and outside of the career, in the ring. That's pro wrestling logic, if you know what I mean. It's like sometimes like you're not the main focus of the story. You might be the main focus of the story, but the story's not about you per se.
Yeah.
So it's no shame in getting a pin or doing the job if you're part of the storyline and your character's meant to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unlike our boy Vin Diesel, who can never do the job to anyone, right?
No.
But yeah. So I do think that kind of thought process for him helps him because it's like, okay, I don't mind losing here and there. It makes the most sense. He's not super protective of his character to the point where he won't allow certain things to happen. But I think he's also too lax sometimes about his character. Yeah, he is. Yeah, but like you were saying, overall, I mean, even when he's participating in stuff with AJ Lee, which was a bit creepy because she's like half his age. That storyline where Daniel Bryan and she was the GM. Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were she was obsessed with both of them. Yeah. And then Kane got involved somehow. Made
no sense. And then John
Cena. He said out in all the wrong ways. He's like, you're even too crazy for me, so none of this, please, lady. Yeah. Which somehow did make sense.
Yeah. No. There's someone in this storyline that has logic to it. Yeah.
Well, it's like as crazy as he is, there's some woman out there who's just next level and saying that he's like, oh no, I gotta get away from you. Most people keep away from me, right?
Yeah. Because I'll burn
you. Like he set fire to JR, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that so look, good on him, good career. enjoyable career in some aspects and some not so enjoyable. Like some stuff that is cringe.
Yeah.
Right? But and other stuff that is so out there that it's enjoyable sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes a bit extreme, but it's enjoyable. Yeah.
I mean, I'd happily watch recaps of certain Kane feuds, and some of the ones that I don't want to watch, like, I'll probably watch someone talk about the Katie Vick stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's wacky.
Yeah,
Even though I'm like, this is stuff makes me ashamed to watch wrestling.
Yep.
At the same time, it's so out there that you're like, you have to accept that. You want to laugh, but at the same time, you want to cry. That's the best way to put it.
Yes.
All right. With that, close.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say with that we were going to close off, but you were saying something else.
I was going to say that, like, things like that makes you don't want to tell your non-wrestling friends that you watch wrestling.
Yeah. So but look, I was going to say, like, good on Glenn Jacobs for participating in the stuff he does do. And having a lengthy career out of it.
Yeah, and entertaining us for many years. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm the man who lost his mask and wig at Saudi Arabia. Fell off the top turnbuckle.
Yeah, which is so funny because it's never happened before, and now it's happened. Yeah. See what, Sean? And I am the man with the convoluted backstory that changes on a whim, Carl Charles. And we'd like to thank you all for listening to us do our career look back at Kane / Glenn Jacobs. Was you a fan of Kane? Did you enjoy his career? Let us know. Maybe tell us what your favourite matches of his was or storylines he was involved in. And you can do that by dropping us a message on Instagram, Twitter, in the YouTube comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel because we've got stuff going on there. And thank you all for listening. And until next time, guys, thank you for taking a trip with us around the multiverse. Bye.
Bye.
You know what? I completely know where you're coming from. You've been in the ring with a lot of scary cats. I've been in the ring with a lot of scary cats. And yeah, this cat is scary. He's big, he's scary, and hey, he ain't King Kong Bundy walking around here. Remember Bundy? Hey! Not Bundy. He ain't Kamala. Remember Kamala? Rubbing his belly. Ain't Kamala. But he is one big scary cat, and he is one big red ass-kicking machine. He's got no love. Oh, here he comes now. He's scary, but he ain't scared. Watch this. Rock, ask you something. You ready to go out there and whoop some ass? Ready to go out there and whoop candy ass?
Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Well, you bet your ass I'm...
It doesn't matter if you're ready! Because tonight, The Rock and Kane team up with Hulk Hogan. And you know something, brothers? Whether it's the millions and millions of Rock fans, or 20,000 Hulkamaniacs, or 20,000 screaming Canaanites.
Canaanites?
The question is, brothers, what you gonna do? Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-pac, what you gonna do when Hulk Hogan and The Rock and the Big Red Machine run wild on you? What you gonna do?
The hell? Look at this! What's going on?
I'll see you guys out there.
That match is next! Oh my God!